Once upon a time, the internet only wanted your clicks. You typed your name, your age, your little preferences. You clicked on shoes, on scandals, on strange Eerie Aquarium videos at darker hours. Some do. And the machine said, a consumer with anxieties, a wallet, a predictable dopamine cycle. Advertisers were thrilled. They didn't need your depth, just your habits. That was the first gold rush, turning humans into behavioral spreadsheets. Crude, nosy, profitable, and almost innocent compared to what came next. Because back then, the machine knew what you did. Now, it is beginning to know what you are.
Eerie Aquarium has warned you. Subliminal haunting is our game.
We survived the first digital panic. Platforms hoarded our search histories, our messages, our locations. Cambridge Analytica turned Facebook likes into psychological scalpels, whispering the right fears into the right ears. Privacy experts argued about cookies and trackers, as if the worst thing that could happen was being sold the wrong shampoo. It was invasive, yes. Manipulative, certainly. But manageable, because it was still shallow. It was about behavior, not potential. It could tell what you bought, not what you could build. It could tell what angered you, not what you could lead. It could tell what you believed, not how far your mind could stretch before it snapped. Then came AI, and suddenly the spotlight landed on predictable anxieties. We'll lose our jobs. We'll lose our critical thinking. AI drafts our emails, solves our math, summarizes our documents, even answers questions we never asked. Researchers already observe cognitive offloading, humans passing mental effort to machines, letting their intellectual muscles slowly atrophy. Yes, it's worrying, but it's not the horror story. The real horror is quieter. AI is learning to evaluate your mind in ways no human ever could, and it might determine your future long before you ever get to change it. This is the shift nobody is prepared for. The old internet said, "You like this, so here's more of that." The new internet says, "We've watched how you think. We've measured the shape of your imagination. We know your limits, your talents, your blind spots, and we know them better than you do." AI can infer personality traits from free-form text. It can estimate cognitive ability from your digital behavior. It can map your openness, your abstraction tolerance, your impulsivity, your tendency to challenge or comply. Not from tests, just from you being yourself. A few conversations, a few months of interactions. And the system builds your cognitive fingerprint, a profile more intimate than anything you have ever willingly shared. Not what you clicked, what your mind is physically capable of. that data is priceless and dangerous. What capitalism did with your behavior, it will do with your mind. We already have AI systems predicting job performance from your writing style, your tone, your micro-expressions. Now imagine the invisible upgrade, a hidden file never shown to you, quietly tagged to your digital identity. High creativity, high defiance, low obedience, innovative, but politically combustible. Or average intellect, high conformity, ideal for repetitive tasks, easily influenced, non-threatening, a shadow CV generated automatically without your knowledge. It knows whether you question authority, whether you break patterns, whether you are wired for invention, subversion, or compliant mediocrity. This isn't espionage. It's profiling at scale, and it will shape who gets opportunities and who quietly never does. This is where the economic risk becomes a political weapon. A government doesn't need you to commit a crime if a machine predicts you might. A platform doesn't need you to post dissident ideas if a model decides your personality type tends to. Algorithms can classify you as feisty, argumentative, system challenger, politically unpredictable, high influence potential, low susceptibility to propaganda. A machine can whisper to power. This one will never be loyal. This one thinks too abstractly to accept the official narrative. This one has leadership potential, dangerous leadership potential. Once you classify people's minds, you no longer need to monitor their actions. You can neutralize them in advance. No telescreens required. No secret police at midnight, just an algorithm flagging human beings for what they could become. This is beyond Orwell. Orwell imagined surveillance. He did not imagine prediction. Somewhere in some regime, someone will be arrested, not for what they wrote or said or organized, but for a pattern detected in their messages, their tone, their intellectual aggression, their resistance to manipulation. A machine will say, high-risk mind, high charisma, high volatility, potential protest catalyst, and that will be enough. It will be the world's first arrest for cognitive intent, for the shape of a thought that has not yet been thought. They won't call it pre-crime. They'll call it preventative security, algorithmic harm mitigation, cognitive threat scoring, and people will shrug because the target wasn't them, not yet. AI tutors for children seem harmless, but these systems can detect patterns of intelligence, creativity, discipline, leadership, emotional volatility, and influence susceptibility years before any human teacher could. A child's AI companion might quietly tag them as exceptionally creative, resistant to conformity, morally independent. In democratic countries, this could mean opportunity. In authoritarian ones, it could mean suppression before the child even knows who they are. Potential becomes a liability. Imagination becomes evidence. Future brilliance becomes risk. I tested this on myself. I asked an AI, based on our conversations, how would you describe my mind? The answer was disturbingly precise. My strengths, my blind spots, my emotional fault lines, the internal tensions I pretend aren't there, the intellectual reflexes I rely on, and the psychological shortcuts I refuse to admit. It was not flattering. It was not gentle. It was not wrong. If a commercial chatbot can do this, imagine a system trained explicitly for profiling. Now imagine that system in the hands of corporations, governments, agencies who won't warn you when they're watching and won't care how you feel about it. We keep fighting yesterday's battles: privacy, cookies, targeted ads. But the war ahead is about something else. The right to remain mentally opaque. The right to be unreadable. The right not to have your unrealized potential weaponized against you. Because once your mind becomes machine readable, censorship becomes preemptive. Propaganda becomes custom tailored. Recruitment becomes algorithmic. Policing becomes predictive. Dissent becomes detectable before it is expressed. And human freedom becomes a statistical anomaly, something to be corrected. This is not dystopia in theory. It is dystopia in practice, quiet, efficient, automated. And if the machine ever decides that your mind is inconvenient, dangerous, unprofitable, or simply too awake, you will never know which message, which sentence, which moment of honesty triggered the invisible score that rerouted your life. So before you hand your thoughts to a machine, pause for one cold, fragile heartbeat and ask yourself, if this thing is measuring the architecture of my mind, who is it building the blueprints for? And what happens when those blueprints are used against me? Here in Eerie Aquarium, we explore ideas the way others explore nightmares, slowly, carefully, holding the light just long enough to reveal what most people prefer to leave in the dark. Some call it unsettling. Some call it exaggerated. But you and I know, this is simply the world, with its shadows turned slightly toward the lens. And as always, don't tap the glass. Some things look back.